What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Sunday League Screamers podcast. I'm your host of today's show, Steve McCutcheon, with my one co-host, Michael Nowen. Say hello, Mike.
Hello. Glad to be back.
Yeah, man.
Bachelor
Good
party.
to have you.
I heard a lot of shit talking on me, but it's okay.
Oh, of course, man. Well, you're back from your bachelor party weekend, and now Vito's gone for one. So it's glad to see your guys' dedication to the show. I'm the only one that's always here.
Yeah, it's okay. It's because you have no life.
Wow, that's rude, man. We have another great show for you guys today. Before that, take a moment, hit the bell, subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, wherever else you guys get your podcasts. But before we get started on the show, we have a very special guest, our first guest ever. He's a writer for 1:37 p.m., covering the United States men's national team, Barclays Premier League, MLS. Please welcome Larry Henry.
Woohoo!
Woo! What's up, guys? How we doing? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on. We're really excited. It's been a while to get to this point, but we're finally here.
Just a little bit. If you don't mind, real quick, Larry, give us a quick background about yourself and the audience for us.
Yeah, so obviously, like you said, working over at 137 with the crew there, covering the men's national team, English Premier League, Americans abroad, MLS. Also do some work with the International Champions Cups website, doing more of the same topics, and previously worked at SBI Soccer for close to 5 years, so great experience there, and nice. Continuing the grind, man. Just keep writing and covering the Philadelphia Union locally whenever I can, not far from Philly, and whenever I get a free weekend or a free day during the week, I always love to hit up a game there. Great atmosphere for sure.
Nice. Sweet plug for Philly.
I mean, I've been to the Red Bulls too. I go up to Red Bulls when I can. It's just Philly's 20 minutes compared
probably so
to,
much closer.
Yeah, right? 20 minutes than an hour and 30. But I've been to Red Bulls, been to DC this season too. So glad to be back at games again, and seeing the fans there. It was pretty spooky when there's nobody there.
Yeah.
Do they have any restrictions going on right now for the MLS games, or at least in Philly in general, or not really?
Right now, I believe that I think every kind of city is doing its own thing. I know for Philly, they're back to full capacity. I went as a fan a few weeks ago when they played DC, and it was great to see everyone kind of back and enjoying themselves. Definitely a lot of energy that the players feed off of, and but I don't know. To be honest, for like West Coast and stuff like that, I know every state's kind of different right now. And I just got back from Ohio myself, and it was a little, different there than it was here for sure.
Yeah, I feel like they give a couple less fucks out there for whatever reason.
Right. Yeah, I feel like and I mean I'm vaccinated now, which is good, but I even still try to stay safe with everything. But yeah, it seems like you were right about that. It was a lot more people kind of running free without mask and stuff. But what are you gonna do?
Hey, to each their own, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we have a lot to cover, man. We got the United States men's national team World Cup qualifiers coming up. It feels like it's been forever since, I don't know, that dreaded day in Trinidad Tobago.
We don't talk about that anymore.
We don't. We actually, me and Mike, when they went to go play Costa Rica at Red Bull Arena, we actually went to the game and just watched ourselves get our ass whooped 2-0. It was great.
Yeah, it was nice to go to an away game and
at home.
At home.
Yeah, you gotta love those the away games on home soil. So,
do you think we should have like kind of like a Wembley where it's like designated, like somewhere like in that Kansas City area where there's always like typically a good crowd for the U.S. Or do you like the fact that they go around the whole country?
I'm a fan of the whole country thing. I mean, you see, other teams like England and stuff, they make Wembley their home, but sometimes they're playing friendlies or maybe not even qualifiers, but I know they were playing like Nations League and stuff like that at times in other parts, and friendlies in other parts, whether it was like Southampton or Aston Villa's stadium or something. But it'd be pretty cool though, I think, if you made like a neutral hub. I think Kansas City would have to be the number one spot. I think it's just smack dab kind of in the middle, and definitely has a lot of history, in MLS. But seeing a lot of these new stadiums now, I think hosting games. I know Austin's going to be hosting one. I was just out in Columbus. I went to the Columbus-Cincinnati game last weekend, and it was amazing stadium, modern day, I think, proper soccer stadium in the U.S. And I think it's going to be, a hell of an atmosphere for that qualifier against I believe they're playing Costa Rica in Columbus, and then they play Mexico in Cincinnati. And I wasn't able to go in Cincinnati Stadium. Took some pictures outside, but that's a beautiful stadium too. So I think it just gives more kind of fan bases around the country a chance to go see their team. I mean, I remember seeing the national team play down at the Union Stadium. Maybe not as glitz and glamorous as some others, but definitely a big following of fans in Philadelphia, and also the people making the trek from South Jersey or DC or wherever nearby. So, but that'd be a pretty cool idea. I think it would be interesting to see if U.S. Soccer ever did something like that, but I don't know if they will.
Yeah, no, I agree. Unless we just have to broaden the horizons for more USA fans to get out there, I'm not really sure. But I feel like when we went there, it was literally, we were legitimately sitting in away territory. It was nuts, like for a home game, which I feel sucks because that's one of the biggest advantages that playing at home is, the crowd.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm very excited, obviously, to see the team back in action tomorrow in competitive, in a competitive atmosphere. Also, I hate to say it, but I'm also kind of excited to see them on the road, and see how they kind of stand up, rise to the occasion, and deal with a hostile crowd, because a lot of these fans in the Caribbean and other places have been kind of starved without seeing their teams play. And I think it's going to be a great atmosphere there, and hopefully, can pick up 3 points right off the bat.
In an ideal world, that would be, that'd be
we didn't
amazing.
win an away game last qualifiers, right? I don't think.
I don't believe so. No, it's been that long nuts. that I'm like second guessing it, but I don't believe we did.
I'm almost positive, and that was the one of the major flaws in what happened, that massive collapse or whatever the hell you want to call
calamity. Yeah.
I was actually sick. I've never been sick to my stomach, like really over it as a fan, until like that moment. I was like, oh my Lord, this, like, we didn't just do this, did we?
Yeah. It's bad when my dad, who isn't a big soccer fan at all, but when he comes up and says to you, "Man, I just read the U.S. didn't qualify for soccer. Like, what's going on?" But it happens, and hopefully, they learn from it and kind of have a. It's not going to be easy, but I think they're definitely favored. To get one of those automatic spots, and I mean, this group of talent, which we'll get into, is just kind of really good right now, and I think going to be definitely chomping at the bit to get going.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever had this much depth before, especially over in Europe, and we can go through transfers in a second and how many there were just in the past couple of days. But I feel like we could field close to 3 teams now. And before, if someone went to Fulham, I was like thrilled. Like, it used to be like 10 years ago, I was like, oh my God, we have a guy in Europe. And now it's like we have 3 squads in Europe.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, like, the list just keeps kind of getting bigger and bigger, as we'll touch on. But as my phone goes off in the background,
Hurricane Ida. If anyone,
flash flood alert, baby.
I just threw my phone like 10 feet across the room, so hopefully it didn't break. But but no, I think the list just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and we're going to see more guys in MLS make the move abroad. We've seen some already this transfer window and last year as well, and I think that list is going to keep growing. But I think at some point there's going to be every Premier League team's going to be covered, or every whatever division, Bundesliga. It seems like that list is just kind of mind-boggling right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We had quite a few guys. Actually, how about this? Who do you think should be going over that hasn't yet? Like, in my opinion, obviously after Gold Cup, you got guys like Matt Turner, Miles Robinson. Is there anyone else that you think should be making the move over?
For sure. I think there's a lot of guys that definitely boosted their stock at the Gold Cup. Like you said, Matt Turner is the guy I think that could be playing in Europe someday. Miles Robinson definitely did well. Another guy I think that has been on the radar, and there's been articles about that, and that's Cole Bassett with Colorado Rapids. Tom Bogert, another reporter I know, has obviously been putting a lot of, out about that, and how Benfica from Portugal had put a bid in to acquire him permanently, but he actually rejected that because he wanted to stay with Colorado recently and bring home a championship, because Colorado is playing extremely well right now. Probably one of the big surprises in the Western Conference and also in MLS. And he's another guy who's been linked with the move abroad. I think, some other guys I think deserves a move overseas, maybe sooner than later, is James Sands with NYCFC. Played well at the Gold Cup and is playing for NYCFC. And then some other guys that have been linked with moves. Daryl Dike is another one who's been linked with the Premier League and now the Championship, and also some other teams in Europe. So I think he'll be going soon. I don't know where or what's the best fit for him, but he's kind of getting back to full fitness now after picking up an injury at the Gold Cup. Chris Mueller was a guy that was on my list until he signed that contract to go to Scotland with Hibernian. So he'll be heading over there at the end of this season. I think that list is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger, and of guys going over. And I think we're going to constantly see more with how these teams kind of groom their academies and get these guys ready to play. I know the Union are one of those teams that do that. FC Dallas is another one. NYCFC.
Dallas has a bunch.
Yeah, the Dallas has a huge list of guys. And I think, NYCFC is another. So, overall, it should be exciting to see.
Yeah, definitely. And even building off that as well, some of the other transfers, not even necessarily in the MLS, but just across like the US team itself, we wrote down a couple of like notable, not to say there aren't others out there, but Hoppy to Mallorca, Richards going back to Hoffenheim, right? Conrad to Olympique Marseille. I mean, these aren't just like, like we were saying, run of the mill types of clubs for the most part. A lot of these clubs in some sense have a level of prestige, especially in Europe, for their fan bases. And it's really awesome to see that the US in particular is getting those young players to go overseas and really grow, develop. So it's pretty tremendous.
Yeah, I think that it's not only like the list, the clubs just making the move there, but like you said, these guys go into kind of bigger name clubs. Conrad de Marseille, I think, is a great situation because he'll be contending, for Europe. He'll be contending in European competitions. Is already getting immediate playing time and kind of showing what he can do when he gets to play regularly. Hoppy going to Mallorca, I think, is a neat situation because it's not the biggest team in La Liga by far, but it's obviously, we've seen the stadium and the videos they publish. It's a nice stadium, really nice town, and
it's beautiful.
Yeah, and
I gotta take a vacation there.
You get his autograph while you're there, and maybe see Stu Holden since he's a minority owner there. So
that's right. It is.
I saw that. I think Nash is with them too, right? And someone else on the Suns. I think the owner as well.
Yeah, Steve Nash is. I don't know the name of the third, but I think it was pretty cool to see him go there and kind of take a different route, because he was linked with the Man U's and the Liverpools and other teams like that. But was he really going to play right away? Probably not, with Ronaldo going back to Man U, or Mo Salah at Liverpool, or Sadio Mane there. So it's a cool situation. They've already started the season really well, and will definitely be contending to stay up in the first division, because probably Matthew Hoppy doesn't want to suffer a second straight relegation and to start his senior career. But that's that's a different story though. But definitely the moves these guys are making are the big name clubs, good situations, and I think we'll see a lot of them thrive this season.
Do you think it's worth them going to like relegation contenders though, potentially, like people that are like guys that or teams that are surviving, or should they go to more like kind of mid-table clubs where they may not necessarily play like week in, week out, but like it's a little bit more stable as a club and like an environment?
It's tough to say. I mean, I think both definitely bring their pros and cons. When you look at a situation like, I'll pick Josh Sargent with Norwich. I think the fact they got relegated, he was another one linked with moves to the Premier League or even Bundesliga teams. And now he goes to Norwich, where He's not going to play every single week because they have a proven goal scorer in Timu Pukki, but he is going to get that experience of working with a Premier League club and working with a lot of, international players. And he's already, kind of made his mark a little bit in the League Cup with 2 goals in his first start. So I think I was in their shoes, I would say, of course, you want to go to the team that's going to not be relegated, but you want to play, you want to be out there. And I think that, I think the situation like Sargent might have a little bit of trouble. He might be like, a guy off the bench to maybe get a goal or to pad a lead or to tie a game. When you look at Venezia, who's another one, you have Buzio, Tanner Tessman, and Jack DeVries now, the most recent going there. And that's another team that's not going to be favored to stay up. Buzio played this past week. I thought he looked really, really well, really good for his first start. Tessman still kind of trying to fight for minutes in the league. I know he played in the cup, and DeVries might not play at all. He might just get he might be able to train with the first team and get that experience and maybe play with like the under 23s, which is more than he was doing with the Union. So I think overall, when you're with those relegation teams, you might play more and you might get that kind of experience of, that battle of, later in the season. Okay, is this the week that we stay up? Is this the week that we go down? And I think as a player, that really brings a lot of experience. I know Josh Sargent talked about it. I know Matthew Hoppe had talked about it. I had interviewed him after the Gold Cup, and he kind of talked about how that helped him grow and, kind of see the pressure on you as a professional. So, but overall, it's tough to say because I think every player is going to a different situation. You could be Conrad going to Marseille. You could be Caden Clark, who's going to be going to Leipzig soon. Matt Miazga going to Alaves. So but it's kind of just seeing what you make of that situation, and I think a lot of these guys are in really good situations to exceed their expectations.
It sounds like more like a lot of the guys' individual mentality for the most part.
Yeah, it's definitely that mentality is different. I mean, you could be like a Zach Steffen, who right now is the number 2 at Man City, and he's not playing. He'll get his chances in the League Cup and the FA Cup and if they run away, say they run away with the group stage in the Champions League, it's not going to be easy. But if they do have a game that he plays or something like that with the group wrapped up or a knockout stage spot clinched. So it definitely different for everybody. But I think, you want to be playing and you want to be playing regularly. And I think a lot of these players are in that situation to do so.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think a lot of the moves that we've seen so far are actually pretty positive because I think most of the guys left clubs they weren't getting the time at, and they need to. Someone like CCV going over to Celtic on loan. I thought it was a massive one for him because he hasn't been getting anything over at Tottenham. And he definitely needs play time in order to secure a spot right now on the men's national team.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of, how do you pronounce it? Is it Venezia?
Venezia. I'm honestly not really sure, but they have American owners and they just keep pulling over USA guys now.
We have like a new instead of full America, it's a full like a America, maybe like a USMVT. Yeah. Anyway,
lost them together.
No, but anyway, moving on, going through like the U.S. squad in particular and kind of touching on, who's been selected and what the expectations are. And a little bit alluded to it in the beginning of like what we're expecting from this U.S. team. But we wanted to kind of talk about also the roster itself, go over any specific omissions or surprises that you happen to notice in general. And then beyond that, what's the prediction from a formation perspective, from a team perspective? What should we really be thinking and really wanting to see out of Berhalter and the rest of like the squad in general? And yeah, overall get the opinion in general from Larry.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the roster, I think one big omission to me was Julian Greene. He's a guy that's kind of been on the outs for a while now since he was a younger player, but had a lot of experience with getting his new club Firth promoted back to the Bundesliga. Was really key in them doing that, and has really kind of developed his game nicely where he's not just an attacking player like he was when he was at Bayern, on loan other places. He does a lot now with the ball. He's a central midfielder. He covers a lot of ground. He sets up a lot of his teammates, plays really well defensively. So I was kind of shocked he didn't get a chance. I mean, I know there's tons of guys for Greg Berhalter now to choose from, rather than years ago where it seemed like it was, it was the same group of guys with the occasional surprise. So Greene was definitely a shock for me. But I understand maybe why he wasn't picked, because it seems like he's really kind of struggled to get a chance with Berhalter right now, and hopefully maybe in the near future he does get a chance with them. I mean, looking at the formation, I think it might depend game to game against the opponent. El Salvador is going to be a tough game, I think, to start, because you are on the road. You're going to have to deal with a lot of fans there. But I think they're going to go out, try to, get a few goals early and really kind of put this thing to bed, which I think, there's been talk of some formation changes, how they kind of set up. I think they're going to play like 3 center backs at the back. I really do, just because they're going to want to get, these fullbacks up high. I think Anthony Robinson and also Serginho Dest are going to be in that starting lineup. Are going to be kind of bombing up the flanks to try to get crosses in the box. You want to get there. That's what they're good at. I mean, you want to get them. You want to get them in those situations. You don't want them defending more than attacking. So I think we see 3 center backs for sure.
Who do you think fills those slots, out of curiosity?
I mean, looking at it, I think when you have the 3 center backs, it's probably easier maybe for like some of the younger guys to step in. I think John Brooks for sure. He's your number one. As much as people probably don't like it, I think Tim Ream starts because he has that experience. He's been in these situations. He has 45 caps for the team. And he's playing, he's playing with some, confidence now with Fulham. They've been on a roll in England. As the third guy, I think Miles Robinson starts as well, because I know Walker Zimmerman has more experience and maybe Mark McKenzie has more maybe upside, but Miles Robinson did extremely well in the Gold Cup, really kind of solidified his spot on this roster. And again, I think if you have the guys like Brooks and Ream who have 40 plus caps each there, they're going to be the guy to kind of calm you down and say, kind of say, take the lead a little bit, and maybe Robinson isn't put under too much pressure. So I think those 3 guys get the start, and then Robinson on the at left, kind of like left wing back, and Dest at right wing back. And then if you look at the midfield, obviously Christian Pulisic probably isn't going to be playing. I mean, I've seen photos of him in Nashville, so he didn't make the trip. He didn't make the trip. Yeah, he didn't make the trip down, and I kind of expected that. That was my prediction, was he wouldn't be there for the first game, but he would be for the other 2. Right now, I think it's about fitness, and he hasn't been playing. He hasn't been kind of running around. So, I think you can kind of save him for this game. So, but when you look at the midfield, the guys there, I think you're definitely going to have Weston McKennie. I think you're definitely going to have Tyler Adams. And then the third guy, you have Kellen Acosta, who I think had a really good Gold Cup. You have Sebastian Lletget, who, is
like he really does.
He loves him, and I think he's a guy again who maybe like a Tim Ream, where fans kind of want to see him, maybe push to the side a little bit. But I think again with CONCACAF, you want some experienced guys, some older guys there that can play under this type of pressure. So I think you're going to see Adams. You're going to see him at that kind of like number 6 role. Defensively, you're going to see McKennie with him, but also getting upfield. And I think I'd have to say the third guy, as much as I want to see Kellen Acosta, I think legit starts because
Probably.
he gives you more of an offensive threat, and right now they need that with Pulisic not there. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Acosta off the bench and Christian Roldan off the bench in the game, and then up top. I think you have to go with Josh Sargent. With the guys out, like Joss's artist not there, Daryl DK not there. So I think Josh Sargent gets the start. And he's the future at the striker position. And then I think you're gonna see like Gio Reyna as the other forward, maybe kind of playing off him a little bit, not centrally. He's gonna be kind of floating around. Making up for Pulisic's absence. And I think Reyna will start as well. I mean, as much as we'd probably like to see like a 2-striker front with Sargent and maybe Jordan Pefok, I think Gio Reyna has to be out there starting. I think his creativity and his ability to draw fouls in the final third is key. But I wouldn't be surprised if Brendan Aronson gets some time as well. I think he's the other guy who we could see fill in for Pulisic, but I think Reyna right now it will be a starter, and we could see Aronson as one of the first guys off the bench.
I'm curious.
See that.
It sounds more like a 3-5-2 that you're going with. I'm like debating if we go like 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, and he wants to attack with the wings and see if he pushes Reyna out to the right wing again. I think all of United States men's national team Twitter really wants him playing at that cam role right now. I literally see that everywhere, which I don't blame because he's playing.
I mean,
he's playing right there.
He's looked really good there for Dortmund.
Yeah. So I think that's definitely the right spot for him. But yeah, even if he's up front and just having that free roaming area where he could just get on the ball and do what he wants, I'm all about that too. He's definitely our best playmaker right now, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think Berhalter has a lot of different, kind of routes he can take for how he's going to play with Pulisic not there. I don't think it's again, I mean, it stinks not having Pulisic, but you have more than enough talent to go down there and score several goals and keep them off the score sheet. So I think, Gio Reyna and Brendan Aronson, they're younger attackers that are, in good form right now for their clubs, and both, have a good reason to start. My big thing is if you do put Reyna at like a right wing back, then I guess you would put Dest on the other side, which he's comfortable with. He has played left back too, but I think he's more natural as a right back and more dangerous there. So I think I agree with both of you that I think we will see kind of Reyna maybe floating around in a central attacking role, getting on the end of kind of like knockdown passes and stuff, and trying to get himself into good situations, whether that's him shooting, whether that's him winning fouls, or setting up his teammates. But it's definitely hard to kind of pick some of the pieces in the formation because there's just so many guys out there, and a lot of guys have a say. And then we forgot about the goalkeeper, right?
I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah, that's a topic of discussion.
Because before, I mean, it was Zach Steffen number one. But Matt Turner has definitely kind of inserted himself into that race with what he did at the Gold Cup and what he's been doing the last couple seasons in MLS. I think Ethan Horvath's definitely the number 3 because he's not playing regularly at Nottingham Forest. And that's going to be the situation, I think, for a while with him as the number 3 in the U.S. pool. But right now, I would start with the hot hand. I'd start with Matt Turner because as great as Zach Steffen is, and that he's playing for Manchester City and he has 16 more caps than Matt Turner. I mean, Matt Turner's playing regularly. He's playing for the number 1 team in MLS. He's coming off a Golden Glove performance in the Gold Cup. So I think Matt Turner, if this is the game you want him to play, I think this is it because you have some tougher opponents in Canada and also Honduras in this window. So, and I think Matt Turner is definitely deserving of starting tomorrow night.
I think that would be a shock. I think that would definitely be a shock for a lot of people, but it's not something that at least those who should have been paying attention wouldn't have, I would say it wouldn't be unexpected, right? Shock for people who are like watching, say, hey, Steffen, Man City. But, if you've been watching the Gold Cup, watching Matt Turner, watching him at the Revolution, it's definitely deserved, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people have kind of questioned me on Twitter a couple months ago when I said Zach Steffen should be number one. Zach Steffen's still my number one, and that's not being biased because I'm a Manchester City fan. That's just the fact that I thought you think Zach Steffen overall is the better talent, but in qualifying with these games kind of coming thick and fast over just a short period, I mean, you can rotate. Just because Matt Turner starts tomorrow doesn't mean he might start the other 2 games. But
exactly.
Again, I think his confidence right now is sky high because he helped them win the Gold Cup over Mexico. He won the Golden Glove as the best goalkeeper. He's been in the running, obviously, for goalkeeper of the year in MLS. And
didn't he help them do the penalty shootout in the MLS versus the Mexican Liga Mexa, right? Through that, or am I going crazy and hallucinating?
I don't think if it was this. I don't think the Revs were in it this year.
Not the Revs. I'm sorry, like the MLS All-Star game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was also in the MLS All-Star game for sure. But yeah, so he's definitely full of confidence right now. And I think it's just like some about it, get the hot hand. And who's I think Turner probably the best goalkeeper again in MLS.
Yeah, I listen. You laid it out every argument possible. I think Horvath's definitely the number 3, even after he had his nice shining moment in the Nations League final. Matt Turner followed it up with 6 or 7 straight games, which is absolute genius in the Gold Cup. So he's definitely fighting for the number 1 spot with Steffen. I really like Steffen just to get more game time somewhere at club level because I think he's going to need it to stick at the number 1 in the future, but we'll see. I won't be shocked. I would be very surprised actually if we don't have 2 different starting goalkeepers throughout the 3-game window. I think I think he tinkers with it.
Yeah, I think you're going to see probably both of them. I think Turner plays tomorrow. Maybe Steffen gets the game, and then Turner goes again against Honduras. But Greg could also go the other way and go Steffen, Turner, Steffen, or one of these guys, all 3. But I think you're going to need to show some kind of rotation, definitely with the players. And then I think the goalkeepers are going to need it too, with the weather conditions, and the games coming every couple of days.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think of Berhalter as a coach in general, though? Like, I know a lot of people always, Twitter in general, they murder him left and right, but I don't think he's doing that. I could be reading it completely wrong, but from where he started and to where he's at now, I don't think he's doing a bad job at all. I think he's doing pretty well. He's starting to understand the pool of players he has, and we've made great strides, I think, or it could just be the players themselves that we just got lucky with a generation.
Yeah, I think overall Berhalter, I mean, kind of pedigree speaks for itself. I mean, he's not, he hasn't been at these, big clubs. Obviously, he had success with the Columbus Crew and getting them to be kind of a consistent team in the playoffs. I think overall he's just a guy that, he wants to win. He's played for the national team. He's seen some highs and lows as a player and a manager. And I think he just wants the best for the program. And overall is just a competitive guy. I mean, he wants to win and get these guys ready because he knows how special this generation is and how much they can achieve. They've already brought home 2 trophies this summer against Mexico's first team, and overall, I think that he's going to get that chance in the World Cup because I do obviously see them qualifying and getting there. And, he's kind of had a really strong 2021 so far. But again, you're judged on qualifying. You're not really judged on the Nations League or the Gold Cup and all. I mean, they didn't get to the Olympics, the under 23 team, and they didn't get to the last World Cup. So that's what you're going to be judged on. Overall, I think he's a good manager for sure. One thing I am a little worried with is maybe, I know a lot of fans probably agree with me, is maybe in the games with the subs and whether he's subbing guys too early, whether he's maybe not picking the right guys. Obviously, it's easier said than done when you're not on the sideline and you're not looking at the formation and the matchups and everything. But I think that's one thing that could definitely change, and I think will change through qualifying, because you're going to be forced into some situations where you need a goal late, or you need to hold on to that lead, whether it's against the lower teams like El Salvador or the bigger teams like Mexico and Jamaica. So I think that's one thing that's definitely going to need to change. But overall, I think he's done, an exceptional job of getting these guys ready and getting them, giving everyone a look, because the pool right now is just way bigger than when it was, when Bruce Arena was the coach when they failed to qualify. So, and Jurgen Klinsmann as well. So I think he's done well of kind of picking out that talent, and now it's about getting the best talent out there and playing at a high level on a consistent basis.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we saw the best tactically out of him between the Nations League finals, the semifinal final, and then the Gold Cup. I thought that's the most or the best I've seen him make subs on the fly.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, like I said, I think he's gotten better with it. And again, I mean, the layoff they had kind of from competitive matches leading up to the Nations League Final Four. I mean, getting these guys kind of back up for it after a long European season, and really just, a long period of, with the pandemic and everything, and a lot of other things kind of in the background that we don't see. But yeah, I think he's just, continuing to kind of grow in that role. He probably knows the pressure is on too, that they need to get to the World Cup after last failure. And overall, with this much talent, you should be qualifying. I mean, we've seen them kind of already skyrocket the FIFA rankings now, just outside of the top 10, which I think is deserved. And credit to him for getting them there, and the players for performing. And I think his subs, I think, will just keep getting better and better now with the amount of talent they have, because the more, the better talent you have, I think it's the easier you're going to make those subs. But you're going to need everyone ready to produce, and I think they do starting tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I love everything you just said. Realistically, they the pool, the deeper we are, definitely makes his decisions. Granted, they're harder maybe at first, but easier like later on during the game when he has enough talent where he can bring on a guy from, Red Bull Lisbon for someone that's, also playing in the top flight in Germany, rather than before maybe some guy in the USL or the MLS to replace someone from Europe as a top star. So his pool is growing. He's getting better at the same time. I think it's a really good time for the US in general. What would you consider a successful window then? Like a minimum of what? Like obviously all nine's ideal, but like, do you think 7 is like pretty much the bare minimum of like expectation?
Yeah, I think, I mean, hearing the players, like listen to Tyler Adams yesterday and Weston McKennie. I mean, the goal is 9 points, and they're high on confidence right now, and they know that they're one of the favorites, and how much pressure is on them to qualify and succeed. I think the minimum, is 7. I think they should maybe not breeze by El Salvador, but like I said, it will be a tough game. But eventually, I do see them getting through, maybe like a 3-1 or something like that. Canada will be tougher for sure. You have the Canada team that's kind of on the rise as well in CONCACAF. They have their own sort of golden generation right now with guys like Tejan Buchanan, who is at MLS and earned himself a move now to Europe. And then you have some veteran guys there as well, the Kyle Larens, the Samuel Pietz. So Canada will definitely be tougher, especially with their more recent matchups. Obviously, U.S. fans won't be forgetting when they lost in the Nations League to Canada back in 2019, which feels like a century ago now. But then rebounded to beat them 4-1 in the Nations League, and then since then have beat them in the Gold Cup. So that'll be a tougher game. Maybe that's the game where we see the draw. And I don't think the U.S. will be, disappointed with that in the end. And then Honduras, I think that's another 3 points. Again, it's a tough team that they've seen in the Nations League. semifinals and beat them. But overall, I think that's a team that they should be winning against. But again, the depth will be tested. Can other guys kind of step up? Hopefully by the Canada game, Christian Pulisic's back in full fitness and can make an impact. But they're definitely going to need other guys to step up. It can't just be Pulisic. It's got to be Sargent. It's got to be Gio Reyna. It's got to be, legit other guys. You need goals. And I know, 1-0 score runs are ugly, but in CONCACAF, you'll take it,
Oh, absolutely.
We'll take
after
a lot in CONCACAF. Bite your
and
arm
after-
off for 1-0.
and after all the clean sheets in the Gold Cup, I mean, you should be raring to go to kind of keep that run going. I think it was only letting up 1 goal in the Gold Cup. So,
It was
yeah. So, I think 7 points definitely the minimum. But I if they get all 9, I think that's again just a testament to the players and the coach, Berhalter and his staff for getting them to that point.
Yeah, I don't know how much the other fans realize. Like the other teams really in CONCACAF are getting a lot stronger. Like you just mentioned, Canada, they're having a nice generation right now. Jamaica just recruited Mikel Antonio, who's the most informed man on the planet right now. Dude's been killing it.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of teams getting better. That not just us.
Definitely. I think Jamaica, I mean, that's a team that I'm kind of eager to see because the guys you said, Mikel Antonio coming off his record-breaking performance with West Ham, becoming the all-time leading goal scorer in the Premier League for the club. And I think Leon Bailey, you have a lot of the guys from the Union there. Andre Blake, always up there for goalkeeper of the year and has won it recently. And then so it's a scary team for sure. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it's just Jamaica with Mikel Antonio, but it's really just a really collective unit, strong at the back, a lot of fast guys that can beat you. So I think that's the team I'm probably most worried about because we know what Mexico is going to bring. We know what Canada is probably going to bring now. The other teams like Costa Rica and Honduras, Panama. But I think Jamaica is definitely going to be a dark horse, and they have a tough game tomorrow because they open up with Mexico on the road. So, but I think
never easy.
But I think Mikel Antonio might be my best scoring bet option to score tomorrow for Jamaica, just with how well his form is. And I think how excited maybe Jamaica fans and also CONCACAF fans are to see this guy, leave England, the England pool, which he wasn't really getting called up anyway, to come to a Jamaica team that's already kind of on the cusp of being in that elite top 3 in CONCACAF.
Yeah, absolutely. You got odds on that Mikel Antonio bet? Or I have to look this up on DraftKings. You've posted a few winners lately, so I'm just saying I'm always down to double down with somebody.
What's funny is I didn't even see a scoring like a player prop for him on DraftKings. I see more of those bets, bet on this guy to score and win or score and assist, and he wasn't one of them. But I know I think if you bet on Jamaica, I know if you bet on Mexico right now it's some crazy number. I know like just a draw was plus 750 right now, and I think those are pretty good odds.
That's not a bad bet.
I think that's pretty good odds for sure against Jamaica. It's not like you're playing a slouch like El Salvador or something. You're playing Jamaica, and I think Jamaica might could pull the upset in that one, or at least keep it close.
I'm actually about to look those odds for Jamaica win right now. I'm very curious.
They could definitely steal a point off them. I mean, with the slumping Mexico team after the Gold Cup and after the Nations League, it's very possible. So,
yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure for sure on Mexico after the 2 trophy losses. But then now you get Raul Jimenez back after his kind of long, lengthy head injury. And I think that's huge because you could see maybe a little bit they missed him in the final third in those tournaments. So he's a guy to definitely watch. And another guy on the player props, man. He's a guy I think that's going to be at the end of qualifying, at least near the top of goals scored.
By the way, I did look it up. Jamaica's plus 1,100.
For a draw or for a win?
Ridiculously undervalued. What are the books doing?
For a draw or a win?
For a win, Jamaica money line's plus 1,100, and then you're right. Draw is plus 750. How do you not? I would throw money on both of those. Screw it.
It's not a bad bet.
I did put down on USA El Salvador. I think it was over 3.5, just because the last couple games with the U.S. I'd been winning on the goals because they at least in the later rounds, it was, 1-0 or so low scoring and stuff like that. But, I think the prediction there, my prediction would be 3-1 US, but again, it's CONCACAF. You never know with that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's so unpredictable in the way the games are played and all the dirty tactics that you see. Like there's a penalty, just kicking the entire spot to shreds, everything.
Then you add the weather into it when there's ever in these crazy downpours you see, or fields on cow pastures or something. It's I still remember a few years ago when they played. I think it was like St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and this was like 2017 or 2016, and it was like it looked like it was like at a high school track, our equivalent of a high school track, and he's like, you see farms in the background and stuff, and it was pretty interesting. But as a player, I mean, it looked like they didn't weed whack the thing or lawn mow the thing or anything like that. Maybe that's part of the advantage of playing when you're the home team.
It is though, like a lot of, especially like our guys in Europe now, they used to perfectly trim the pitches and watered down, like nothing crazy. But then you go to a not as developed country and they have potholes in the ground, and you're ready to break an ankle running into one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we covered the majority of it for the most part. Is there anything you guys really want to add to everything?
I think that's it. I think we hit on everything.
Yeah. All good.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it pretty much wraps it up. Larry, I want to thank you so much for coming on here, dropping a ton of knowledge on us. Where can everyone, listening learn more about you and just keep in touch?
Yeah, again, thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it. It's been a fun time, except for my phone blowing up 2 times. With
it's trying to keep you safe.
I know. Yeah, I don't hear the rain over my headphones like I did earlier, so it must be calming down. But yeah, you can follow me lhenry019 at Twitter. Writing at 1:37pm.com, International Champions Cup.com as well. So definitely we'll have some stuff up before the game tomorrow, and also after the game and going into the weekend, because like I said, the game's coming thick and fast. There's no time for no rest for the wicked, I guess, in the next coming week.
I know you're gonna be busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Balance that with the full-time job during the day. It's like, you kind of just start losing track of what time it is. It's like, but we're getting into the fall now, so daylight savings coming up. Start catching up on some sleep.
There you go. That's one way to do it. I heard adulting is really fun.
Right.
But that'll do it for another episode, guys, of Sunday League Screamers podcast. I'm your host of today's show, Steve McCutcheon, along with Michael Nowen and our wonderful guest speaker, Larry Henry.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Let's go US.
Let's go.
Right. Let's go. Come on.